Hey guys, Case Crusader here, back in the chair again, ready for another top 10 video. This week is going to be the top 10 Arrowverse characters, which of course is referring to the shows mostly on the CW that connect all within one universe of DC characters. Alright, let's jump right in. Number 10, Jon Jones. When they introduced this character, it was incredible. If you're not familiar with him, he is of course the Martian Manhunter. And how they brought him in was just very clever, very smart, and I did not see it coming. And since then, he's become this father figure to Alex and Kara and many members of the DEO. He is the moral backbone, not only of the DEO, but of the entire show. And he's just become one of my favorite characters, watching him accept human behavior in society and the parallels of him being an alien versus the skin color that he's chosen, all brilliant. And the actor who plays him, David Harewood, just really nails his sensibility and just the alien nature, but one who has adapted. And I think it's just all done really brilliantly, and anytime he's on screen, he's just very watchable, and the character is just so cool, and I can't wait to see him where he goes next, because he's the only person that can really put Kara in place if needs be. Strength-wise, mentality-wise, he's the only one besides, of course, her cousin that isn't equal to her in any way. And he is just the moral support of the show, and I couldn't imagine it without him. Number 9, Kara Danvers. Let's be real. A superhero show led by a female is awesome, and Kara is a really interesting character. One I didn't know very much about, obviously, because Superman was always in the spotlight and she was in the shadows. Melissa Benoist does a great job of putting Supergirl into the spotlight and proving throughout the show, not only with herself but with other characters, that female characters can be stronger than men, and they prove it time and time again in the show, and she is the beacon of that. I love her struggle with staying hidden or being out in the open and being that symbol of hope. I think she handles it very well, and I've enjoyed seeing her journey over the past few seasons into a strong superhero. Not to mention that anytime there's any sort of team up or crossover, I look forward to seeing what Supergirl does, because she's incredibly powerful and a useful asset to any team that she's on, both strategically and physically, and she is successful at being that shining beacon of hope that she aims to be. Number 8, Alex Danvers. Alex Danvers is actually my favorite character within the Supergirl show, just because in the same way that Jon Jones is the moral backbone of the show, she is the heart and soul of it. She is the bleeding, beating heart of that show. And anytime that I've come close to, if I've just gotten choked up or anything, it's been somewhat involved with her in some way. She doesn't have any powers, but she's almost like Black Widow in a sense that she doesn't need superpowers to run around and be awesome. Everyone comes to her for advice or looks up to her in some way, and she's the one that can always be depended on. She always wears her heart on her sleeve, and she, to me, is the most watchable character on that entire show. Number 7, Felicity Smoke. Where to begin with Felicity Smoke? There's so much that she's done for her show, for Arrow, and for the entire Arrowverse. She is one of the first female characters to prove strong in many different ways. Not to mention she's funny, she's sexy, She's got everything going for her, and I can see why she is such a fan favorite. We almost lost her at one point in the show, or at least the show made it seem like we were going to lose her, but she is... there's no way anyone can replace her. She, while in addition to adding to the show's humor, she also, I would consider, the moral backbone of the show of Arrow in ways that Oliver isn't. And they work very well together, but she has saved him in many ways that he has saved her. And she is a tremendous asset to any team that she's a part of, and has proven that without having powers or any sort of abilities, that she can hold her own just as well as anyone else, and any team would be lost without her because she has the capability to think her way through any situation. Number 6, Joe West. Once I found out that Jesse L. Martin was part of The Flash, if I wasn't in already, even though I was, that sold me probably more than anything else. And he does not disappoint. Watching this guy on screen, he's one of the most natural performing actors I've seen across any of these shows. He is such a lovable guy. Talk about wearing your heart on your sleeve. There's a reason why there is a phrase, Joe moments, because you can tell that it's coming too. Anytime Joe has just a very deep human moment, it's impossible not to feel from it. If there's one character that can get you to feel things, it's Joe West. He is an incredible father and mentor to Barry, Iris, and Wally, everyone around him, not just his physical family. But he's just always there for everyone, and just the most genuine person across any of the shows. He would do literally anything for anybody. He is the embodiment of the give the shirt off your back kind of guy. And he's one of the strongest and most stable characters on that show. And anytime he just gets to act and do his thing, it's so worth it and so much fun to watch as an audience member, as a fellow actor. Every way he just delivers, and he is such a joy to watch. Number 5, Sarah Lance. I'm so glad that she has become more important over the seasons of different shows, and I'm glad that she has become the captain of the Wave Rider on Legends of Tomorrow. This girl has everything. She's incredibly strong. She's a brilliant tactician. Without having powers, this girl can do pretty much anything. She's dependable. She's wacky. She is completely fearless. I think that she is a person worth looking up to in every way, and I've enjoyed watching her grow as a person, from being the girl that stole her sister's boyfriend, to assassin, to resurrected assassin, to team leader, and ultimately the backbone of her team, the Legends. She's just a role model in every sense of the word, and it's hard not to admire her in everything that she does. Number 4, Leonard Snart. Captain Cold was my personal favorite character of Legends Season 1. I mean, even in The Flash, anytime he was on screen with Barry, or just at all, anytime he was on screen, he stole the show. Unfortunately, they killed off his character in Season 1, and while it hasn't ever really been the same with him since then, you know, they've brought him back for different points in time, for different plot reasons. He was even a villain in Season 2. Love him, hate him, all at the same time. He's just such a dynamic character, and I love his portrayal in the show. I'm really sad that he's going to be leaving. Uh, I almost considered making him a honorable or special mention because it's really the first season and the Citizen Cold, as he is called, that we love more than the other renditions of him. But the fact that he is able to walk that line and just be on different sides of the fence of our love and hate, he's just such a fun character. And watching him change and be unpredictable and yet a lovable character at the same time, I feel like he has passed that torch on to Rory, no pun intended, but it's sad to see him go very soon, but he is one of the most comic book characters out of these comic book characters, and for me, he's just one of the most fun characters to watch across any of the shows. And anytime he is on screen, you know you're going to have fun in some way or another. Number 3. Well, that's weird. Kind of like this next entry. His methods of entering the Arrowverse is a bit odd, but I'm of course talking about John Constantine. Now, Constantine, I debated on putting him on this list or not. He is a bit of a curveball when it comes to this. If you didn't know, he had his own show on NBC, which got canceled, and then they brought him into the universe. And they're currently bringing him back on right now for a little special, they say 2-parter, but really it's one, because they did their whole little crap of ending with 10 seconds of one episode and calling it a 2-parter. But anyway, he is such a suave, interesting, he's one of the most interesting characters that the Arrowverse has seen, and I'm so glad to have him on board with the rest of them. I hope that they take this time to see fan response and bring him on as a regular member in some capacity. He's currently on Legends right now for his so-called 2-parter, but I hope that he becomes a permanent member, and if not, I hope that he frequents any of the shows. He could honestly go on any of the shows. With only having had a few appearances on the Arrowverse shows, not counting the NBC, not even counting that, talk about a guy who just demands the screen's attention. This guy is just oozing charisma and is such a fascinating character. I love the character Constantine himself. So Matt Ryan's portrayal is perfection. And there's a reason that people are salivating to get this guy on screen and have him thrown in the ring with the rest of the characters that we love, because he's just such an interesting, fun character that adds a new dynamic that we haven't seen before. I mean, just even his episode on Arrow alone is enough to put him on this list. That's how fun this guy is and how different and imaginative and just free that this guy is. And I just hope that they just continue to use him to his fullest potential, and overall, just, if for no other word, just interesting. Anything this guy does is going to have you hooked to your TV, and thanks to Matt Ryan, it's become possible. And please, any more screen time this guy can get, he deserves it, and he's an amazing character. Number 2, Barry Allen, The Flash. What? I started this video wearing a Flash hat and Flash colors? He's number 2? Well, it is a very close number 2, but yes, Barry Allen, The Flash, showed us the possibilities of this universe. He was the first person to display superhuman abilities within the universe, and the Arrowverse has never looked back since. Grant Gustin does an incredible job as Barry Allen. Some people would argue different things about him versus the comic character, but just judging his portrayal on screen, how can you not love Barry Allen? You can tell that he was raised by Joe West because this guy is just always up and at him, always a go-getter, always such a positive influence on everyone around him. Even when he's mopey Barry, there's still light in him. And in the same way that Supergirl is a beacon of hope, Barry Allen is a beacon of light, just overall. And he has one of the best shows within the Arrowverse, and he's a great character to look to for that positivity, and he just has a magnetizing personality. Everyone that is close to him on the show loves him. All of his friends from different cities or different shows love him. You can't help but just be enamored with Barry Allen's personality. And he's one of the main leaders of the universe for good reason. I've said before that certain characters are the heart and soul or backbone of their respective shows, but Barry Allen just shows the lightness of this universe and just is the perfect character to embody the lightness that the Arrowverse can have. Where there is light, there is Barry Allen, except Savitar. And finally, number one, as I'm sure you've guessed, Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow. The man that started it all, Oliver Queen. This could not have happened in any shape or form without Oliver Queen as the Green Arrow. Love him, hate him, frustrated by him, disagree with him. He is such a fascinating character and has so many layers to him. He's gone such a complete transformation. I mean, that's why you see all the things with the island and beyond, just to see how he has been shaped as a man. Other characters have been the backbone of their shows. He is literally the structure of this entire universe. And none of this would have been as successful without the compelling portrayal by Stephen Amell. This guy is the person who helped build this universe. The branching out from Arrow and everything that it's done has paved the way, literally, for these other shows and the rest of this universe. He, while having that Batman brooding mentality a lot of the time, he is shown within his character and within his show the very modern context that this universe has. It's willing to adapt, it's willing to change, he's willing to adapt, he's willing to change in order to meet the needs of the world around him. He is constantly updating himself, updating his outlook. He's such an open-minded character, an open-minded guy, and it's impossible not to feel admiration for the character and for Stephen Amell himself for doing this for us. He has shown that he is the reason behind the whole universe, and even though he started by himself, he quickly gathered a following in real life of people watching the show, but also the characters that are just bonded to him in very human ways. He's my personal favorite of the show just because of how dynamic he is. He's a man that is willing and capable of doing anything, and I am so happy to have seen this character grow and flourish due to his dedication of being a superhero. He is the prime example of what it takes to be a superhero, powers or not. and there's no way the Arrowverse would function without him. It's called the Arrowverse, and to me, he continues to be the most interesting and captivating characters that the show has to offer. And he is the perfect foundation for the Arrowverse in any way it chooses to expand, evolve, and grow. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what your favorite Arrowverse characters are within the comments section, and I will see you guys next time.